What's up, beautiful people? If you take a look at my screen, you'll see that I've got Grok, Claude, and Perplexity all working on the same task, which is to plan me a dream 7-day getaway to the Swiss Alps. If you're like me, you're tired of having to keep up with all the models and what they're best at. So I wanted to find a quick way to give the same task to a bunch of models and see what results I like. Instead of having to open 5 different windows to compare their responses, you can do it all in one with this tool called OpenRouter. I'm going to show you how you can configure it for free, how you can save money on tokens, and finally give you 3 test prompts that you can use to see how these models stack up. Okay, so first, what is OpenRouter? OpenRouter is basically a cloud relay that takes in tokens that you buy with your money and then connects you to basically any AI model. So they're like kind of a wrapper for AI. And why I like it is because it allows me to quickly prototype when I'm coding or even here in the browser and try a lot of different AI because I can tell Claude Code or Cursor, drop in this model and it just goes to OpenRouter / and then that model. Now they do take a fee on these tokens, so the token cost is going to be inflated like 5%. I think that's worth it for rapid prototyping. If you don't, you can go ahead and just drop in your API keys and you'll save on that fee. They'll route and they'll use your API keys. So even if you don't want to pay them at all, you can bundle all your API keys in here and monitor what your AI spend is across a bunch of different models and providers. That's the cool part. So to get started, I just signed up with my Gmail. You can sign up with GitHub too. And then I put $15 of tokens in. If you want to add in your own, you go to BYO key, which means bring your own key, and you can look for whichever key you want to bring. So if I wanted to bring in OpenAI, I would just paste it in here and you can toggle on to always use. And then you can come here to go to API keys and use this like when you're coding to actually connect your apps to OpenRouter. Okay, let's get to the cool part, testing the different models. So you're going to want to go into this Fusion tab here, and you can they have different categories here, quality or budget, and just show you the ones that they pick. We're going to go custom, and I'm just going to pick the ones that I like to use. Grok, let's do Claude Opus, and let's do OpenAI. And then this Fuse part is at the end, they're going to take the responses from all your models and put them into one combined response. And so they're going to just use Grok for this, but you can change this to any other kind of small model. And let's start with this first prompt that we have linked below in the guide. It's a basic business use case. So you can kind of get an idea of which model, frames business decisions in a way that makes sense for you and your team. And you'll see it's going to send to each of them, and you can click into all of them and see what it's writing. And now that Grok Fuse model is going to come in and look at all the responses and compare and contrast them. Now, you can see, like for that vacation one, they show what they agreed on. They showed some key differences, and they showed the unique insights from each model, which I think is pretty cool. And then I thought about blind spots, but in this case, I don't know that these are very useful. These are just kind of pedantic blind spots. Okay, so back to our business use case one. It's completed the analysis, and now it's got that composite response here. So theoretically, this is taking the best of each model's response and putting it into one. And then don't worry, you can click on each model up here to see that individual response. And you can even just keep chatting here, or you can just run it back if you want. So let's try a coding test case with some budget models and see how they do. These will all be linked in our guide on our website, the Rundown University. And I would try, these are the 3 main things that I think people use AI for, is internet search for things like planning trips, coding, and then business use cases, business decisions, process improvement, things like that. I would try a prompt for each of those. And if you want to go further, I would click on this models tab here and look through the different models that they offer. And you can start comparing things like pricing, different categories, and learning about which models are best. And I think this might be good for someone who likes to test a lot of different AI, but they don't want to have subscriptions to all of them. So instead of paying, ChatGPT $20 or $100 a month, you could put that into OpenRouter and pick and choose which models you want to use for different tasks. They also rank the different LLMs here based on how many tokens are being used. But keep in mind, the ones at the top are often new ones. ones that companies are giving usage away for free. That's also another cool part about OpenRouter is there seems to always be some new research preview model that you can just use for free. So you can plug this into your OpenClaw and get a bunch of free requests. I've done that a bunch. And then you can browse and find things like speed, best by category, best by language. And in this case, actually for the programming, I think I like DeepSeek's. Just the formatting is kind of easy to parse. But then it's interesting at the bottom, Grok just kind of makes these like to the point responses very wordy. So maybe next time we won't use Grok to combine all of the responses. Kind of overcomplicated it. And you can always go into activity here, see how much you spent. So I spent 40 cents testing all of these. And I did some use cases before this video. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably ran like 10 of these comparisons and spent 40 cents. So that's it for today's guide. It's really simple. I think this is something that people are missing because even I was opening a bunch of different apps and pasting in the same prompt instead of just doing something easy like this where it's all in one place. And because I use OpenRouter for other projects too, like OpenClaw, Hermes agent encoding, it's pretty cool to find out that this little feature is in here. Okay, so that's it for today's guide. Let us know in the community if you like this guide, if you want to see other guides like this. As always, I'm Billy from the Rundown University. Stay frosty and peace.